Hello and welcome once more to episode 2 of... Well, I've put it up actually, Neil, as Gas It Out. Are you happy with that?
I'm not 100%. I'll be...
What?
You know, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, not 100%. I'm
we did
about
talk about
60%.
It. What did you offer?
I haven't offered anything
you
yet.
Offered.
You know...
Do you know what you offered?
Go on.
Would you call it a bike chat?
No, I did not. Shut up. Hey, I thought something really original. Let's call it bike chat. Yeah. No, I never said that.
Bike
I'm
chat.
I'm still thinking about it. Leave me alone.
We are open to ideas, aren't we? It's up there. If you heard the first episode with Jake Dixon, we recorded that 3 days ago now. And it's fun, great to hear. Jake, he was on cracking form. Had a good start to his year in Moto 2. And he was intending to spend the lockdown getting really good at Formula 1 esports. Is that right? Was that the Formula 1 game? He was getting a new steering wheel, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's... And I've seen him, I follow him on social media. He's like calling everybody out. He's like, come on, anyone, just come on, hook up with me, play against me.
Please,
you know
be
what it's
my
like.
Friend.
That said, also, I did see yesterday on social media, he posted a picture of him with a frying and a pan on his head, and then at one point he'd got his beautiful wife Sarah's bra on. So
yeah, I did see that.
So,
I wanted to use that as our pod picture, but I wasn't quick enough on the whatchamacallit capture, and then when I went back, it had gone.
That sums him up, really, doesn't it?
I mean, that is everything. I do despair for poor old Sarah.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you doing? Lockdown has come in. I mean, it sounds like the end of an X Factor episode or something like that. But lockdown is in force. I mean, we were isolating anyway. Since the last podcast, I've actually got into full lockdown because my better half, Kate, who is works the GP, has a temperature. So she's got to isolate for 7 days. I have to isolate for 14. It's fun, isn't it?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I thought she had to do 14 as well. But
no, yeah, apparently if you've shown symptoms, it's 7 days from when your symptoms start. So
right.
That's in the UK anyway. We know there'll be people listening to this all around the world, so don't take any of our advice. I mean, in many ways, in every single way, never listen to advice that myself and Hodgy give out. But I'm
going for Gav. Me and Vic, my better half. We do like a glass of wine. So last night we opened a bottle and just about managed to get through it, and she gave me the look, which meant let's open another one.
Oh right.
And I'm not joking. The second bottle, I don't know. It was like it was leaking from the bottom. It just disappeared. So if I do sound a little bit croaky, we got stuck into the wine last night. So I believe I was told that kills off all germs and bugs. So
again, do not take any advice from Neil Hodgson. He is not a registered medical professional. I just thought I'd lay that as a disclaimer before we get taken off air or off. Or we tried to upload to Apple and people like that, and they all have to do the review thing. So anyway, we're going to crack on. Have you been doing any more fence painting? What have you been up to? Anything around the house? Just drinking wine.
Drinking wine, a little bit of DIY jobs, but I'm not very good. But I'm enthusiastic.
That's it. So, I bought a workbench the other day, Neil.
Oh, wow. That sounds dangerous.
And a jigsaw.
That definitely sounds dangerous.
So God. The next time you see me, I might do a full McWilliams.
Yeah, fingers. Is that going to be your new name?
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Be careful. Be careful. I worry about
I'm making my own wood store. So I've got the frame sorted. And I've sorted some of the wood. So, that's my job for later on today.
I like it. I like the sound of that.
I'm excited by it. I am excited.
I thought you'd be sunbathing, Gav, in this beautiful weather.
It's a bit chilly still. In Leeds, it is a little bit chilly. But it's actually very nice. And my garden, though, last week I did some planting, digging for victory. And I appear to have killed everything that I've put in.
Yeah, that's too early, Gav.
Is it?
Premature again. I've told you.
I've primed. Oh dear. Yeah. Right. Okay. So we're both on lockdown, and we're hoping to entertain you over the next half an hour or so, and we're hoping to have a special guest join us. And he's someone, Neil, that you know very well indeed. You've known him for a long, long time. You do manage him. He is leading the World Superbike champion. Alex Lowe's, one half of the Lowe's Terror Twins. But before we speak to him, Neil, can you remember when you first met him?
Oh my God. That's like one of those days you'll never forget. When you meet the Lowe's twins for the first time, it was 10 years ago, actually. It was 2010. I was at a George White open day, and these two ridiculously, like, Energizer Bunny kids just came straight up to me, really confident. Oh my God, Hodgy, it's really nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. You know, both of them talking at the same time like they do. And I remember thinking, these twins, I think I've met these before. I've heard about them. And then I remembered, then I had a flashback to being at the NEC bike show. And it was around about 2003 when I'd won the World Superbike Championship.
Not that you like to mention it.
No, funnily enough, it's come out already. How long have I been talking?
We are.
But it's part...
6 minutes in.
Shut it, right. It's part of the story. Keep your mouth shut. And I was at the NEC bike show, and these kids came up, twins, in leathers. And they're wearing bandanas, and they were quite rude. They were cocky. And the parents were stood there next to them all proud. And I thought, God, if that were my son, I'd make them have a bit more respect. So I'm talking to the Lowe's twins, fast forward then to 2010, and I'm thinking, yeah, you were right cheeky little buggers when you were kids. I didn't like you, to be honest. So we spent the day together. It was like a 2-day event. And then the next day, it came up in conversation. I went, why did you go to the NEC in your leathers? And oh my God, they were like, oh my, that weren't us. There's some other twins, seemingly, I didn't realise. We'd never do that. I was like, oh my God, what a relief.
I can imagine them doing that though.
I can though, I can. So I was going, what a relief, because now I can like you, because I got this, this preconceived idea that you're a pair of dicks, but which they are.
It's a family show.
It's a family show. So, but then what I did then, Alex wasn't racing, Sam was. So this is 2010. Sam was doing British Super Sport, and I was going to a few races. So because I liked him straight away, I started to try and help him. I'd go out on track, spotting for him, helping him all I could with the psychological side of stuff, giving him some tips. And the funny part of it was, whilst I was doing that, Alex was with me, and Alex didn't have a ride. And at the time, everybody kept saying, do you know, Alex is just as good as Sam, if not better. And I kept thinking, I bet he's not. Because I'm watching Sam, bear in mind, thinking, I can't believe how talented this kid is. It was just the standout. You could just see the talent. And I'm thinking, if Alex was talented, he'd have a ride. And he doesn't have a ride, so he's clearly not. And it's bizarre how it's turned out that I've ended up managing Alex now for 7 years. And obviously, Alex is just as good as Sam, if not better. It's hard to say.
You're already.
They don't race against each other.
I'm glad that Alex isn't on the line yet, because you'd already be starting arguments between the pair of them, wouldn't you? The confidence of each of them is astounding anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny that they haven't gone different paths. They've gone similar paths, but Sam's ended up, hasn't he, in Grand Prix racing. We'll speak to him and find out about all that. But Alex is right at the peak now, and you must be proud. So proud. But what people never see, and you'll always hear riders say, I work really hard, I do this, I do that. I've been involved in this sport forever, haven't I? I've been in and around the motorcycle racing since 1983. I've hung out with some riders. I've had lots of teammates. I know what dedication looks like. I tell you, having worked with Alex for the past 7 years, you have seen nothing like it. There is no one like Alex Lowe's. He's obsessed to the point of it being, he's too obsessed. He's dedicated to the point he's too dedicated. He's inspirational with his drive and determination. And he's had it tough. He's had some tough seasons. He's had some big crashes. But he presses reset. He keeps that. He's always had that self-belief. He's kept that self-belief. And look at him now. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's leading the World Superbike Championship, albeit after one round. Yeah.
But still, he's doing an amazing job. And I genuinely mean this, and it's not just because I'm his manager. I promise you, the best is yet to come. I know him so well, and I can see where there's still areas he can improve. He knows it. He's working on all those areas, and like the polished diamond, we've not seen it yet, but it's coming, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah, they're doers, aren't they? The pair of them. They do.
God,
they do work.
Off the scale.
They, at it, but very, very different characters. Very different.
They are chalk and cheese, and that's what nobody believes it when they ask you the question, "Oh, what the Lowe's twins like?" I'm like, complete opposites. They're like, you are.
But then again, on track, quite similar.
Yeah. But off track, you could not meet two. I mean, obviously they look the same; they're identical twins. But you couldn't meet two more different characters. Like, I'll just quickly. Sam's really happy-go-lucky. Sam's incredibly dedicated as well. Don't get me wrong, but he's like happy-go-lucky, like laughing and joking all the time. Alex is a lot more serious character. He's the serious one of the two. He's always like almost slapping Sam into line when Sam's cheekily stepping over the line constantly. I mean, Sam can't keep his mouth shut, can he? He's hilarious. And he's cheeky and he's always getting in trouble. And Alex is like, right, stop that, shut up, But people always think they're the same, don't they? Yeah. It's funny. I mean, what they're like, Gav.
Yeah, they are different. Right. You're giving him the big ups. Let's have a word with him. Are you there?
I'm definitely here.
He is there. Good morning. Good afternoon, even. If I just look at my watch, actually.
Good afternoon, mate. How are you?
We've all been better, haven't we? We've all been better. But the polite thing is to say, I'm very well, thank you.
Yeah. It's not easy, is it, at the minute? But I tell you what, it can always be worse. Glass half full, I always believe in these situations, Gav.
Exactly. As someone pointed out earlier after our first episode, you could be sharing a flat with Neil Hodgson, and that would be a disaster.
That'd be amazing.
Well, I'm not sure about amazing. Tell you what, it make the days go even longer though. So I suppose it could always be worse.
You'd never get in front of the mirror, would you?
We're just soft, aren't we? It's impossible to even make out, complain about it when you think about it. All we've got to do is stay at home and talk, do a bit of talking and tune out. It's not the end of the world, is it? It's not too difficult.
It's not. It's a tough time. What are you doing though now, Al? Actually, in terms of
apart from annoying my wife a lot. Apart from that,
well, it seems that's a common theme with riders. Just in general,
yeah.
to annoy their other halves. We spoke to Jake Dixon the other day. He was definitely doing the same with his missus. But obviously, we don't know when we're going to be racing again. So how do you approach this time now?
Yeah, it's a strange one because we spend our whole lives with a plan, with a calendar, with a focus, you're always training for something, whether it's the next race or the test, or even when you do have some downtime, you set yourself a certain amount of days knowing that you're going to start again, so many weeks before the start of the season, for example. In the winter, you might take a few weeks off, but at the minute, we don't know how long it's going to last. From my personal side, I've just tried to be honest, switch off from it a little bit. And, we never have this sort of situation. So I'm just trying to make the most of it for what it is. And it sounds bad, but learn to enjoy not having a plan and do some things with Karine in the house and just try to be as positive as I can about it. And I know full well when we do have some guarantees or when we're racing again, I'll be ready to start the season again. But it's a difficult time for everybody.
Can you keep the fitness ticking over then at home? But you do it on a different level to what you normally would?
Yeah, a little bit of a different level. Normally, obviously, I'm getting up. I have like a bit of a plan where I go every morning to the gym with Kurt Gibbons, my trainer. And Neil knows him very well. He's had some tough sessions in there.
Oh,
and,
my God. He's evil.
He is a machine.
He's not a nice man, is he?
He is a machine. That's the only way to describe him. But so obviously, normally I'm there every morning. But I'm really, really lucky. I've got some small gym at home, so I'm able to do some training at home and keep my fitness up. That's not going to be an issue, really. So, fortunate on that side. But you obviously miss the training with someone and pushing you a little bit harder. Unless it's Neil. Then it's just quite rewarding to look at him suffering, to be honest, sometimes.
It's been a while, hasn't it, Al? Actually, it has been a while since we've
Well, I
done
didn't
a
want to
little
say
bit of
it.
training.
I didn't want to say it, Neil. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, but what happened last time? So what happened? This is the way it works. So Alex trains with his brother, with Tommy Searle, with Leon Haslam. They've all got the same trainer. Who else? Oh, Ty Wolfenden. He used
Sandy Ryan.
I don't know if he's,
Commonwealth
Sandy Ryan.
medalist boxer.
So they all use the same trainer, and what happens every now and again, the old boys comes along, like me or Glenn Richards, or who else came along that was pretty old? Was that
Rocky?
Just me and Glenn?
Yeah,
Rocky
is old or not yet?
He's definitely old.
Yeah,
what happens
he's not listening to us, so we can call him old. Not yet, anyway.
We can call him. Yeah. Just to explain, Rocky's Alex's assistant. He goes to all the races with him, and he's ex-British. I don't know what
Commonwealth.
weight, but Commonwealth. I don't know what weight.
Welterweight.
Boxing champion. But what happens?
And he looks like he's had a few
turn
rounds
up at the
Rocky.
gym. his
That's
nose.
so complimentary of you, Gav.
Hey, Gav.
I would never say it to his face. I would actually. But...
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at Rocky's nose, you know that he didn't win all these fights. But anyway, what happens is, imagine what it's like for someone like me. You turn up at the gym, and like I just want to go literally do some bicep curls in the mirror, and they'll go, "Oh, do this circuit that we do. It takes about 25 minutes." The problem is when I do it, it takes more like 40 minutes. But everything's against the clock, and everyone's like literally. The last time I did it properly, I couldn't speak. I had to lie down. Alex was like, "Come on, we need to go." And I'm like, if I stand up, I'm going to be sick. Like, literally. And then this is the best bit. Alex was grumpy with me because I'm like, no, literally, I can't move. That's how hard I pushed. So, painful memories.
In this day and age, it's hard to believe that Neil Hodgson could actually be speechless, but I did experience that, Gav. He was struggling a bit.
It wasn't good.
I mean, I'd have to.
We need to get Gavin.
Although Hodgy
was
in the gym.
I'd absolutely love to get Gavin.
Oh my goodness me.
Leeds United top on, sweating. Go on, Gav.
I'd be filling it out like some of the lads on the terraces at Ellen Road, I tell you. my Leeds United shirt. But I was in the gym with Neil when we actually, for Qatar, we went to London, and I was just a soggy mess. Horrible.
Yeah.
Not pretty at all, seeing me in it.
I tell you what, though, you can play golf, Gav. I've had a few rounds of golf with you, and you hold your own on the golf course, to be fair.
Well, I've got the physique for golf. For a walk.
Very
Big
stable.
calves.
Very stable on the golf course, old Gav.
Solid base. You know, that's what it's all about. You know. So you know what?
Alex,
Interesting hearing you talk about that. Right, just on the fitness side of things, right?
Yeah.
Has anyone cracked? Do you think the perfect way to do fitness for motorcycle racing? I'll ask you that, Neil, actually, as well, because you see people go out motocrossing. You see Maverick Vinales gone and injured himself. You see people do dirt track, they go and hurt themselves. Cal sticks to cycling. Alicia Spargo loves his cycling. Others, do you know what I mean? Other people, Danilo Petrucci does things in his own different way because he's had to lose a load of body weight. Has anyone... I remember Bradley Smith once had a fitness regime which was we're only doing 45 minutes because that's the race distance, but we're doing full-on intensity for 45 minutes. Honestly, has anyone got the perfect plan?
What do you think, Neil? Do you want me to say what I think, or you go first?
You go first.
I'll go first quickly. I don't think so. It's really hard to know what that perfect plan looks like because most sports, you can replicate your sport whilst you're training. So if you're a motocross rider, you ride your motocross bike. If you're a trials rider, you ride a trials bike. Obviously, with road racing, it's so expensive to hire tracks. And, you know, to have a full, let's say, test team where you could go riding every day. So what you find, I think, a lot of the time, if you're not careful, riders can overtrain because they're paranoid that they're not doing enough. So don't get me wrong, it's become a lot more scientific now. But I don't know what the perfect training plan looks like. But what we have learned is over the years, lots of people, like you said, Gav, do it their own way. So it's hard to work out what's the best. It's what works for the individual, I think.
And when you mention, though, the motocross and they can train by being on the bike, how many of them in Supercross injure themselves throughout a whole season and motocross while training? So, I don't know, it's a bit counterintuitive for me. What do you think, Al?
Yeah, Joe, I agree with that. I look at the AMA Supercross guys. They have such a tough calendar, racing every weekend for, I think it's 18 out of 20 weeks, Neil, the Supercross. Something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
And then the riding 3 days in the week. Well, law of averages says that you're gonna pick up a niggle during that time. So if they banned riding in the week, I think the results would be the same. And I think a lot more of the guys would stay fit and healthy during their season. But from my experience, you learn with experience of what training works and doesn't work. And the things for our job is you look after your weight, because obviously there can be some advantages with the weight compared to top speed, and make sure you're fit and strong enough to keep you've got to make sure you got your concentration right till the last lap of the race. And if you do that, the rest of it, I would say, is on the mental side rather than the physical side. All the guys are fit nowadays.
Yeah, weight's a funny one, isn't it? I remember everyone always used to say Danny Pedrosa, didn't they? He was the lightest and he's got such an advantage. Yeah. And then you realise, well, actually, you've ridden
sometimes,
exactly. Yeah. When you've got to stop one of those bikes or wrench it through an S section or whatever, it's a different game, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that there's a good chance he probably would have been world champion if he didn't get injured every time he crashed because of being as small as he is. So it's certainly that when you're being that extreme with how light you are, I think it can go against you as well. Obviously, there's extremes, but if you're a good weight and you still have to be a lot stronger than people think. When guys jump on and do track days, for example, Kurt, my trainer, was speaking about, he's such a machine, but I remember being with him when he did 3 or 4 laps on the back of Leon Haslam around Dollington Park, and he was fully pumped up. Obviously, he's not relaxed. He's not done it before. He doesn't understand the speed, and he's trying to hold on the brakes. He's a little bit scared. So it's a specific type of fitness that you learn over the years what you need. But I don't think there's a right or wrong way. It's whatever each rider's comfortable with.
When I was on the back with Cal at Silverstone, Neil, I thought I definitely had the physique to keep the rear end down anyway.
Couldn't keep the front end down.
No, exactly.
I got told when Cal came back in, that front tyre was like brand new.
It was on a summer's day. It was just stone cold, Hodgy.
Stone cold. Just power wheeling everywhere with that. What is it, guys? 16.5 stone just wedged on the back of the bike.
How dare you?
No, actually, you've lost weight. You have lost weight. What are you down to now?
I put it all back on. Lockdown's not served me well. I was at 13. I'm now back up to 13 and nearly 14. It's terrible.
What?
It's good for darts.
Who said that?
Good for darts.
Hey, darts is not easy either.
Again, solid base. I've got to ask. We've got you, Al. We've got to ask. You are leading the World Superbike Championship.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not what you expected after the first weekend, was it?
Yeah, it'd be nice if it was after a few more rounds, but we've only done one, so we can go off. But it was a fantastic start with the green, fantastic start in green. So it was. It's always a funny race, that World Superbike one down in Australia, because you have all the winter testing. This year, obviously, you had a lot of bad weather. Then you've got it's like a race week, because you have the test on the Monday and Tuesday. Couple of days off, and then you're straight into the race weekend. So what seems to happen is everybody, I've been there on both sides of the coin now, but everyone sort of convinces themselves through the couple of days testing and the few days off that they're going to do well on the weekend, because look at lap times and all the rest of it. But I've learned the hard way from when I first joined the championship in 2014 and 15 that being fastest at that test and maybe over pushing and getting into trouble doesn't necessarily turn into race results. So this year we was nice and calm, and we managed to have a good weekend.
And you mentioned calm. I like that, because for me, how I've seen you change since your time in World Superbikes is you seem to have found an inner calm. Is that fair? It's
a constant struggle, Gav. Constant struggle, but I'm getting there now. Honestly, Neil knows as good as anybody, but the amount of effort that I've put in to improve my. Everybody wants to win. Everybody gives 100%. But the amount of effort I've put in to improve my approach and how I can apply myself on the race weekends or testing or in general to improve my results it's been something I've worked so hard on for the past 5 or 6 years now, Neil, I suppose, isn't it? More.
Yeah, literally, it's after every race, but every year you sit down and analyse where you're at, where you can improve. And that's everything. It's not just, people always talk about fitness. That's like the number one thing you know, like that comes up. Oh, I need to be fitter or stronger or lighter. But a lot of it is your approach in the garage, how you react to a bad session or a bad result, how you react after a crash, how you talk to your team. All those areas, if you can improve year on year, you become a better rider. And literally, that's what we've worked on together as a team.
Yeah.
But obviously, Alex has to do it. But he has achieved that. And
it's so much work for a little bit of difference you feel like from yourself on a approach or being calm point of view. But a lot of people have said it to me that I'm calmer, and I certainly feel a lot better, feel a lot calmer on the races, on the bike, and on the race weekends. And the results have been on a good upward trend now for the last 3 or 4 years. But I think that's what's funny about our sport. I believe that World Championship level, right at the top end, there's so many great riders, but what makes the really fantastic riders is how to deal with your bad days and deal with difficult situations and managing to get the best from, if you look at, in World Superbikes anyway, if you look at Jonathan Rea, when he's not won, he's been second, which helped him win the title last year, but his results have it's been so, it's easy, not easy to win, but it's easy to be happy and comfortable and cheery when it's winning, but to keep them minimalising them bad days to make them a third instead of a fourth is the trick to being a really great rider. So that's what I've been working on, Gav. Simple as that, really. Sounds easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why it was a problem before, but anyway, I just wonder. You mentioned Johnny there, right? And a lot of people listening to this will have seen what he's done over the last few years. You've seen it from on track at the same time, what he's been able to do. So I'm wondering, putting yourself in green alongside him, I wonder what that's like. How you describe that? Is it daunting? Is it exciting? Does it worry you? Does it fire you up?
Yeah, just exciting because in the World Superbike paddock, if you could choose a team to ride for, you choose the Kawasaki racing team, and if you could choose a teammate to have, you choose Jonathan Rea. So it's a fantastic opportunity for me, and a lot of people ask me that question actually, and maybe looked at it a lot different to what I have, but I have to see it as nothing but positive, really. He's been the guy that I've been chasing for the last few years, and now I've got the same kit as him, same opportunity as him, and the best thing, the strength that I've got is, I want to learn, I want to improve, I want to keep doing better, and I think that it's going to be a great year trying to challenge him, and hopefully we'll have more weekends like the first one.
But seeing it up close. Obviously, you know what bike he's on, you know the package, but seeing the way he works in his team and all that, does it give you a different understanding of it, perhaps, and maybe understanding of where you've been? And actually, I think I've got what it takes here. Yeah.
Do you know what? It's been great in a lot of ways working with him in the testing, and when you're away from the racetrack, you have a little bit more time to look at the data and stuff like that. I've been really lucky to have rode. I've got a lot of experience now, Gav, with Suzuka a few years with some good riders, and I remember being teammates with Paul over there, and a couple of GP rides. I was on the Yamaha, and I could see the data from Lorenzo and Valentino at the time. And you come to the end, and you realise that, for example, in Johnny's case, he's just what he does really, really well is a racer, and he manages the races, and he's always there in any conditions, any practice session. And it comes from how he applies himself on the race weekend. But I don't think there's anything. There's nothing from me anyway. I believe 100% that I can challenge him and beat him. Obviously, I've got to do everything.
You wouldn't be there, would you? Unless you believe that.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be there. And if anything, I'd say that this winter and working with this team and everything, I feel like I've got more belief and a lot calmer belief that I've just got to work on myself, trust the process that I'm going through, and we can be there and challenge him. But it's a great position for me to be in.
And I love how confident you sound, Neil, because what do you think? Because what I saw from Phillip Island from that first weekend, you talked about Johnny and how he's managed races. Well, actually, Al did, didn't he? And came strong at the end, and that's what came through over the 3 races.
Yeah, and that's what takes years of understanding. To be calm when everything inside you is telling you to do the opposite. Everything inside you is saying, "Quick, the guy's pulling away from you. You've got to gas it more through this section." I've got to push harder through here. But with experience, it's like, no, now's not the time.
Trust.
Let them just get away a little bit, and like I say, it takes years of understanding that. But just to just go over the Johnny Rea situation, Johnny's obviously the benchmark completely. What's so good for Alex is the fact that he can, I use the term, copy his homework. What a great opportunity. Alex is ready right now to be teammates with Johnny Rea. And he can learn as much as he can off Johnny Rea. And the pressure's sort of not on Alex to beat him in the championship, because nobody at the start of the year expects it. Obviously, he's leading the championship now. It's only after one round. But whatever happens this year, Alex, by the end of the year, will be a better rider again. When I said, obviously, before Alex came on, we still haven't seen the best, but he will be a better rider by the end of the year. And the way I see it, and I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I think Alex will be in a really strong position to fight for the world title next year. That's if we go ahead racing this year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you might think that sounds really negative. That I'm saying, well, surely he's got a chance this year. He's already leading the championship. Yes, he's got a chance, but I think he'll be more equipped, have all the tools he needs to really be able to take it to Jonathan. That's how I see it.
I think it's exciting in World Superbike at the moment. A lot of people have actually said that, with what Alvaro spice it up, do you think, at the start of last year, and even the switch that he's made to go to Honda? For me, everything's given the championship lift. Scott Redding arriving too. It seems to me like there's a lot. I don't know, Yamaha looking strong. It looked like the Honda could well get there at some point. Do you agree with me that it's coming back to where it should be? Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so, and I think it deserves that, because there's a lot of good teams and a lot of good riders, and it's certainly space for how good the racing is. There's space for it to be a great championship, and I think Bautista arriving is. Imagine me and with the World Superbike riders when you turn up and he jumps over from GP and wins by 15 seconds. Well, I think there's more than one race early on in the year won by 15 seconds. But you can't take away from how well he was riding at the start of last year. It was just pure confidence, his style, everything fitted with the bike, and it's sort of everyone else a bit of a wake up, I suppose. But he, it's good that he's obviously moved to Honda. And if the racing's anything like, obviously it's never going to be quite as close as Phillip Island. It's a slightly strange track that lends itself to close racing. But if it's anything like that, when we do get back started, it's going to be great. And as a racer, they're the racers that you love when you're having a good battle. They're always the ones where you get off the bike and think, felt like about 5 laps that race. So that's exactly what we want.
Yeah, that's good, and we can't wait for it to get back. And just like in all of the motorcycle racing, everything is up in the air at the moment, and just fingers crossed that everything sorts itself out. I expect you with your new team, Alex, in Spain. Have you been on the phone to them? They're having an even tougher time, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I feel like compared to a lot of the public in England, we're a little bit more personally anyway. And I know I've spoke to Neil. He feels the same because we're in so much contact with friends and mechanics, people we work with over in Spain and Italy. We know what's coming a little bit more, so you take it a little bit more. Obviously, now we need to take it more seriously. It's been frustrating trying to explain to people that what's happening there. It's clearly going to happen here because we work so closely with them guys. And I speak to obviously with WhatsApp and how easy it is to stay in contact with everyone now. I've been speaking to the guys pretty much every day. I've got some of my guys in obviously Marcel, the crew chief in Holland, the suspension guy in France, and majority of the guys in Spain, and one mechanic in Italy. So all them countries are affected, and it really shows such the scale of the problem we've got. But I've been keeping in touch with them and chatting with them and as much as we can. How
about your brother, Sam? We were talking, myself and Neil, about, Sam, you two, for identical twins who on track people will see a lot of similarities from the past, definitely anyway, in the way you ride. But how different you are. How's he approaching it all?
Well, it is funny really because it's it's obviously great, and from when we was younger, there's so many positives to having. We used to have bunk beds. You've had the scene out of Step Brothers when they make the bunk beds.
Yeah.
that's what me and Sam were like growing up till we was like 12, living, we had bunk beds. And
Who had top bunk?
Obviously, he had top bunk. He used to like try and tell me these stories, these ridiculous, far-fetched stories about all sorts. Sometimes racing, sometimes just making stuff up. And he used to like lean over the bed to see if I was awake. Because obviously, I just stopped replying. I just used to pull him out the bunk bed regularly onto the floor. So I was always on the bottom bunk. But we're so different. We're so different as characters. And now obviously he's got a young daughter and a family, and it's been really nice to separate, and spend some time away from racing. But he's probably gonna struggle more than most people, I would say, with sitting on the sofa and not doing much, because he's got he's a bit energetic, as you know, and he's slightly overactive brain. So I'm not quite sure what he's going to do, really. I saw somebody on the internet running a marathon up and down the balcony. I think it might have been in Italy or one of them countries, and I was thinking, I'll tell you what, that's the sort of thing my brother would do.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
And timing it as well, and letting you know each kilometre how quick he'd gone and everything. Yeah.
Oh, he's had this shoulder injury that was, slightly unfortunate crash. After very few laps testing in Spain, and then so he's ringing me. He's dislocated his shoulder and he's got some fractures and stuff. But he's the worst injured person ever. Neil knows anyway. He spoke to him a little bit, but I'm trying to say, look, just don't do anything. You need to just rest it. But he just physically can't do it. He's crazy, but he just loves it. He loves racing. He loves the thought of trying to get back, trying to ride. But sometimes you got to just do the right thing. For example, in Qatar when he was trying to ride, and I was quite impressed with how he rode the first day.
I think we all were. Yeah.
Yeah. But to be honest, it was a correct decision for him not to ride.
Has he got that? Because we were commentating on it over there on the weekend, and it was, you just felt that it was actually all worked out well, didn't it? Because he actually put in a lap time. What was he, a second off the top times?
Yeah,
and then
I'll tell you the full story
and everything.
It's just quite funny, Gav.
Go on.
It's quite funny, really. So I went straight from Australia over to Qatar. Obviously, the original plan: spend a bit of time with my brother, help support him on his race weekend, watch the GP. It's always good to watch them boys. Obviously, some friends in the paddock and stuff, and stay for the World Superbike. But obviously, due to the issues, it didn't work out like that. So I was there anyway, staying with Sam and doing a bit of training and leading up to the race. And I said, look, you're not going to be able to race. I'm trying to lower his expectations. Let's go out and try it, and then at least you've tried, and we can just focus on getting it a bit better for the next round. Obviously, at that point, we did know that Thailand was off, so we thought we was going to have a bit of a break till America. He's like, yeah. So he's not really listening. And then he goes out on Friday, and I could tell it was hurting him, but he doesn't say anything. He's a bit crazy. He's like, no, it's all right. Like trying to almost convince himself it's all right. And then in the second session, he did 4 or 5 laps in the 59s. It was within a second. So then that night, he's like, I think I can get in the points here. And I was like, well, doing 20 laps at a real strong pace, we all know is a lot different. Hodgy, when you're injured, Neil, you get adrenaline for 3 or 4 laps, don't you?
And then unfortunately in a race situation, it can soon wear off, and then you're in a world of pain, aren't you?
A world of pain. So we go back to the hotel that night, and I said, to be honest, I think you've done amazing today. Sort of the worst thing he could have done, because I was sort of hoping, if I'm honest, that he struggled a bit, did a few laps, and went, it's a bit sore, and then that was it. Then it doesn't matter because it'd have been too slow. But because he was so fast, everyone was like in a position then where we didn't know what to say. But the doctors came around when we got to the track the next day and sort of recommended to the team that it was, it probably wasn't the best idea. And the team then took the decision to sort of help him hold himself back and not let him ride. And it was funny because that you got a little bit of time in the morning in Qatar, and he was sort of strapping his shoulder up and saying, right, I'm going to do a long run in free practice 3. It's going to be, I know I can. Just convinced himself all morning that he's going to be able to do it. But then when we got to the track, almost instantly they said he couldn't ride. So I was getting a little bit of physio off his physio in his cabin, and he comes in and he starts crying. I'm like, Sam, why are you crying? I don't understand why you're crying. You've achieved your target of working so hard every day, and you got to Qatar, and you've done 59s, good lap times. You've done unbelievable, really. You've done great. There's no reason to cry, but he's just so not emotional, but he just wants it so much that sometimes it sounds bad, but it's almost too much. So I think the right decision was made. He calmed down a little bit after that, and now is obviously, more important things that took over, but at least he's got a bit of time to do the exercises, get his shoulder strong. Neil knows from the problems he had with his shoulder at the end of his career, it's not an injury that you can play with. You need to make sure you get it sorted right, otherwise it can have longer effects. But he's just a bit emotional and he just wants to do well. But I don't know why he was crying. I thought he did great, but that's Sam.
It makes me laugh so much, Neil, because that is, isn't it?
It's funny because that's the person we know. Yeah. That's Sam.
Yeah.
He's just bizarrely passionate about it.
Yeah.
That's great from the team, from my point of view, though, Neil, as well.
It's so important. Alex has touched on it then. The problem with the shoulders, it can affect you then for the rest of your career if you don't do it right now. So the problem what we all spotted, like Alex said, Sam was almost too fast, which meant it was right on the limit of crashing. Because when he was at lap record pace. Yes, he could do those lap times, but could his shoulders stand up to hitting the deck? And the problem is in a Moto 2 race, as we've seen over many years, it's very aggressive. There's no slow riders. So if you're in the mix for the points, you're going to be in a tough battle and you could quite easily make a mistake and go down. And the fear is then it sets you back months, So the team made the right decision at the time.
It's funny then, now, isn't it? Because almost if you knew when the season would be starting, you'd almost be able to say, well, I'll have the operation if it's going to take me 2 months or 3. If you knew when you were getting back to racing, but you can't risk that, can he?
No, hindsight's a fantastic thing in life, never, and even more so probably in racing, especially with injuries. But he's just got to focus. He's doing what he needs to do now and getting his shoulder back strong for when he's got. You've seen the size of his shoulders anyway, Gav.
Oh, I mean, he's square.
One of them. He's like a carpet fitter at the best of times, so I'm sure his shoulder will be strong enough when he gets back on.
I heard
he'll be benching the Calex by the time he's riding again. Anyway.
Yeah. Did you hear? Did you hear what happened at Jerez? So he crashed. Basically, he's put such a big hole in the tarmac, having to resurface the whole of the track because he destroyed it with his massive shoulders. It's so funny.
Just left a crater on the inside of turn 2 where his shoulder hit the deck.
Yeah.
He's so funny. He's so funny.
But I thought he'd lost weight.
He has lost weight, but it's genetically, for some reason, he's just got big shoulders. Yeah. Leon's the same though. Leon Haslam, another one of our, obviously train with him as well, and I always laugh at them pair because they're just. I'm a little bit better, but those two, they don't even do a lot of weights, but they just look like the little bodybuilders, little bulldogs, aren't they?
Superb.
Yeah, you won't want to scrap the pair of them. That's a fact. My God.
We've talked about the bunk beds back in the day. What about your state of mind when Neil was telling the story of being around the track watching Sam, and Sam's career was taking off, and watching with you on the sidelines, but he was under the impression that you had just as much talent to be out there on track, if not more. He actually did say quite a few times. Was that a dark moment for you, like wanting to get into this sport, wanting to get to the top, to where you are now? Were there any times where you felt it might not happen?
Yeah, do you know what? When I was younger, I was fortunate to be always really quick, which is half the battle in our game. You always, when you see a young guy, if they're fast and making mistakes, you can sort of calm them down. And there was a lot of people that I was racing against when I was younger that were in like a middle period of my life, maybe from like 17 to 20 years old, where I didn't have a permanent ride and I wasn't racing every week. Obviously, I was working. Just picture this: me and Sam in a little white van doing a bit of sparky, and that's not something you don't want us to turn up to do a job, do you? But
that shouldn't be allowed.
That shouldn't be allowed. Bill and Ben trying to put lights up, but we were doing that when people were racing against, or had been racing against, were maybe in European Championship or Spanish Championship, and it's quite hard because you sort of feel like, not that it's slipping away, but you're missing opportunities. And there's two things that it really helped me with, and one not as good as the other. But the first thing was it allowed me to appreciate life and appreciate any opportunity that you get. How lucky we are to do what we do, which is something that I'm grateful for, because it's easy to forget that. But the negative side was it meant that any time I got on a bike, I was trying to prove myself, which is a dangerous position to be in. Which, luckily for me, I had a few opportunities, and because I rode so fast in them opportunities, although I made a couple of mistakes, it got me to where I am now. But Sam Sam had different rides, and there was a period there, 2011, where he was racing in World Supersport, and I didn't have a ride, and he was doing well, get on the podium, and obviously I know I'm faster than him, so there's not even a question, Gav.
Of course.
There's no point getting into that.
Yeah.
We haven't got time for that.
No, I mean, it's not something that's rumbled on for 29 years, is it?
No. It's just now I'd just like to see it as a fact. I mean, you can ask him. I don't think he's going to agree, but yeah, it certainly obviously didn't help. But looking back now, you can't change what's happened. And like I said, it's given me a really good appreciation for the opportunities that I've got now. And to be honest, I probably do appreciate it a little bit, not a little bit more than Sam, but I want to say had a smoother run, but he sort of talked his way into Supersport and well, actually, I don't want to say he talked his way in. Another little story. I remember 2010, he had a ride in the British Supersport Championship, and before the season, I didn't have a ride, so we was working on the Thursday, drove down to Brands Hatch Thursday night with a van and caravan. Didn't have the right license, and the caravan was snaking all the way down the M25 to get to Brands Hatch because obviously probably going too fast. You can picture it already, can't you, Gav?
Oh my God!
You know, Neil, you remember it.
I do.
And anyway, in the caravan, obviously we can't work out how to get anything to work. So there's condensation dripping on the inside, and he's qualified about sixth. And there's only me and him in there. And he's like, "I'm going to win tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh, all right." He's like, "No, I'm going to win. It's a Brands Indy circuit, so anything can happen on Brands Indy circuit." Anyway, no one had mentioned him. Like, he hadn't really done any good in a Supersport race before. He sets off the line and wins by about, I have to check, but probably 6 seconds or something like that. Just Sam like he is. And I remember we came around the last corner at Clearways and we pulled into the pit lane. I was just stood there, at the end before you get to the pit lane, where it gets busy. We had a little chat to each other, and obviously I was really happy for him. I wasn't riding at the time, but that little moment there was sort of like where it all started from there, really, because he'd just turned up. No one really knew anything. Won the race, didn't really think much of it, and then we just drove home. But
Brilliant.
That moment we sort of really realised, actually, we can do good at this. And he went on to win the championship, which got him his World Supersport ride. But them little moments that when you look back at, you don't really realise at the time, but they're quite significant in believing in ourselves to improve and try and get on the World Championship stage.
Yeah, that is it, isn't it? You're always building the trust in yourself, confidence in your own abilities, isn't it, Neil?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what's good about that, though? Also, what Alex hasn't mentioned, I can mention it now because I don't think it'd be that bad. But that season, Sam somehow talked his way into this ride and said, "Oh yeah, well we've got a sponsor, we've got the money to pay," but never had anything like nothing. Just not. I don't want to use the word lied because Sam's not a liar the way he is because he's the nicest person you'll meet. But just thought, well, what I'll do is I'll convince them that I've got the money. I'll get the ride, I'll get some results, and then they won't sack me anyway because they'll be just pleased because they're leading this British Championship. And that's pretty much what happened, wasn't it, Alex?
Yeah. He told my dad obviously, my dad's scary at the best of times, and he wasn't happy that he'd sort of promised some money to pay for the ride, whatever it was, £30,000 or whatever it was. So I think they gave him £2,000 in the January, and Sam said, "Well, I'm just going to win. I'm going to sack me, are they, if I'm winning?" and I'm sat in the sauna. I'm sat in the sauna as like someone that could never do that. I'm like trying to send 300 emails, trying to get my CV, ringing people, see if there's any opportunity to get a ride. And he's just like, "Yeah, I've sorted it. I'm riding. I've got a ride." And he's obviously hasn't got a sponsor, but told dad to help him a bit, and went to the first race, won the race. We're both crying at the end of pit lane because we know that we're just on a wing and a prayer. Won the championship, went to World Supersport, and then obviously won his world title. So if it wasn't for that little situation, it might never have happened. But it's you gotta love Sam Lowe's, really. Just has a go, doesn't he? Wears his heart on his sleeve.
There's no doubt about that. About what Sam. Yeah.
It makes me laugh as well. He makes me laugh anyway. I remember going to Moto2. We had the big conversation after he won the World Supersport title, and Neil knows all about this anyway. But you'll like this, Gav. So I'm saying to him, "Look, mate, go to World Superbike, get paid some good money." He had some clause in his contract, Neil, I think, didn't he? But he went, no, I can win a Grand Prix. That's all he kept saying to me. I'm like, well, yeah, but you're gonna. So he didn't take his championship bonus, so he could get out his contract to go race for hardly any money in Moto2 because he just believed 100% he could win races in Moto2. So Neil wouldn't have been happy with that sort of business choice, but you can't knock him for chasing his dream. But he ended up, and as I was there when, remember the second win in Jerez when he just did the big wheelie over the line. So it's nice to look back now and think, well, yeah, he was right, but he's made decisions he made. But it was nice.
When you were kids, is that what you both aimed for? Was it when you were both there, and from your point of view, was it I'm going to be a motorcycle racer?
Yeah. From as long as I can remember, it's been lucky, like I said, because it's been a challenge. First person to ride without stabilizers on a push bike. Then we used to race around the garden on a little Yamaha TY80, and just a challenge. Everything we did was a challenge. And then, yeah, we just used to come home from school, watch videos of people, the races. Mick doing back in the day, doing back in the day, in the 90s. And you got Foggy, and a bit later on Bayliss, and I don't want to say it, Neil Hodgson in Superbike. Colin Edwards, Ruben's house, Tony.
Particularly
Who
Ruben.
else was there? Who else was there? But yeah, always had. I remember in 2000 parking close to Cadwell Park and walking to watch the BSB races there, and just loving it obviously, and thinking one day hopefully I want to be doing that. But it's all I've ever dreamed about. Really strongly sort of wanted to do that, and my brother's been the same, and so we've never sort of thought about anything else. So you can imagine how long the days were when we're Sparky and Gav, can't you?
Oh,
long days when you don't want to be doing it.
Oh dear me. But yeah, also having to put up with both your chat all day must be.
No, to be fair, it's not. I'm not that bad. It's Sam. He constantly he's got these. He thinks he's good at one-liners, but he just overdoes it, doesn't he, Neil? How many?
It's hard for people to. I can't explain what Sam's like, but it's relentless, isn't it, Gav? With his one-liners, and he's so quick and sharp, and the cheesy, and you laugh, but he's non-stop. Like on Alex, on your stag do, what was he like? I mean, how many hours sleep did he get?
But he's incredible. He'll be the last one. He'll be out till 5:30 in the morning, then he'll run 10k at 7 before breakfast. He can't. He's got FOMO, the fear of missing out. He can't miss out on anything. Anytime someone's doing something, he's got to be there. But yeah, he certainly, after 29 years, then one-liners aren't as funny, Gav.
I can imagine it takes its toll after a while. Right,
just a little bit.
We've taken up too much of your time today, so I'm going to let you get back to chilling out a bit. Yeah,
I'm a lot better at chilling out these days. So chill out with my wife this afternoon.
Well, send our love to Kareem, won't you? I hope everything's well
for
you.
The boss of the house.
Oh, of course. Well, there's no doubt she's in charge.
Hey, Alex, has she ordered that table?
Well, what do you think?
You weren't happy about that, was you?
No, you're not good for me, Mr. Hodgson, because you come round and you just say, you need to change that, you need to do, I've got a nice idea for you, but it always seems to cost me money.
So I take it the table's on its way.
Yeah, a table, then shelves coming, all sorts going on. I've got interior design. I didn't know that was in the management contract, but I've got an interior designer for free just on the edge.
Oh my God. I bet it's all industrial looking.
Alex's wife just asked me my opinion. I'm like, she went, what do you think of that table, the table they've got? I'm like, yeah, it's crap, innit? And she's like, she was excited then. You could tell she's like, yeah, we need a new one. And it's like, well, why don't you put some shelves there and do this and do that? And Alex is looking at me like, as if to say, just piss off, will you? This is going to cost me a fortune. So.
Thanks, Neil.
Yeah.
But
well, you got.
He wouldn't be happy if he wouldn't be happy if it's the other way around.
Oh, of course he wouldn't.
Me, aren't you, Hodge?
Of course he wouldn't. But you got lots of time to put all that stuff together anyway, Al. So take care, stay safe, won't you?
Perfect. Yeah, you two guys, look after yourselves, and we'll catch up soon. Hopefully, when we know a little bit more about what's going on in the sporting world.
Yeah, fingers crossed for everything, and appreciate that. Some good stories there. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Are you still there, Neil?
Yep, still here.
Oh, good. That was nice, that.
What's not to like though about Alex? And Sam and Alex, you won't meet two nicer lads, will you?
Yeah,
they are absolutely lovely.
They're great lads. They're great lads and entertaining in so many ways. And those stories just the tip of the iceberg, aren't they? But I do like the sound of how Alex himself is self-confidence in his racing, on that racing side. But it works on your personal side as well, doesn't it?
It does. And do you know what? It's so important to have the right people around you. That sounds cheesy now because I'm his manager. What I mean is what his wife, Corinne, is absolutely lovely. She's been great for him. You know, she's like calmed him down and played a massive part in it. His like best friend, stroke rider assistant, Rocky, is just a real calming influence, even though he doesn't look like it.
No, just chilled out.
He's got tattoos. Yeah, but you know what I mean? He's just got a great network of people around him. And I don't know. Do you know what? It's been such a nice journey to be a part of, to watch him grow and to watch it. It's in racing, you want everything to happen really fast, and it's frustrating when it doesn't. But thankfully, year on year, Alex has become a better rider, and it's just been like I said, we've not seen the tip of the iceberg yet. So we're on the journey, and long may it last.
Right, we're nearly up to an hour now, so I think it's probably time we let these poor people get back to their lives, don't you?
Yep.
Right,
definitely.
well, have a good rest of your day, rest of your week, and we'll try and get another one very soon indeed. Does that sound all right for you?
Yeah, we'll sort another rider out. That'll be easy enough.
Yeah, we've got loads of people we want to speak to and that we're lining up already. We're hoping maybe at the weekend to be doing something with BT too. So watch this space, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon. See you, Neil.
See you, Gav. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Are you getting any ringtone? Neil? No. Alex Lowe's unavailable. All right. Try that one. Are we lucky?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you, mate?
Good to hear you. Right, I'm just going to have to sort out my sound. Struggling to hear. All right. Can you hear us all right? Can you hear Neil?
Can you hear me, Al?
Unfortunately, Neil, I can hear you.
Oh, I can hear you very well, in fact, as well.
Long time no speak, Alex. Are you okay? Obviously, I've not spoken to you. Well done in Australia, by the way. I haven't seen you since then. No, spoke to you. Manager of the Year award. About that bonus money. So when I said it goes straight into my account, it does, right?
Yeah.
And you will get 10% of it. I promise. That's the deal we did remember. So that's.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's very
No,
nice
I know.
of you.
What did I say to you? I said I'd always look after you. You know, there's managers out there that will be trying to take advantage of you, which would be awful. But I think
you would never do such a thing like that, would you, Neil?
No. I think at the 90%, 10% ratios. I mean, it's working for me at the moment. I've got to say.
Yeah,
how are you finding it?
Well, obviously, quite nervous every morning waking up in these difficult times, but knowing that you're all right, that makes me sleep better, Neil.
Does it? I'm good. And that, the 20-year contract you signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still you're happy with that. That was a good.
That
was good.
It's a lot riskier for you. It's a lot riskier for you, given your age, isn't it?
Will I see the end of it? That's the question mark. Going off the odds, I'm going to say probably not. The odds are against me.
To be fair, I'm looking forward to your 50th at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's Gav's before mine, isn't it? So
you must be joking, as you well know. I'm a young whippersnapper in comparison. Just look at the forehead.
Have you got it working yet?
Look at the forehead.
Have you got it working? Yeah. Have you got it working?
Got what working?
You sound.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear everyone.
Oh, well, that's fine then. We're all working. I'm gonna do the start bit just again, just of
Go on, then.
welcoming you there.
Okay, go on.
Is that all right?
We're going live now.
Let's go live. I'll use that bit anyway, but I'll just chop it in
Right,
somehow.
okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm getting this one right, are you there? Are you there?
I'm definitely here.
He is there. Good morning. Good afternoon, even.